You think you know pasta sauce? You don't. Not until you've stood inside the belly of a factory where 40,000 kilograms of tomatoes scream through steel veins every single hour. Where the air is so thick with steam and garlic that it burns your lungs like war smoke. Where one wrong second, one lazy valve, can turn $1 million into rotten sludge. This is not cooking. This is combat. Welcome to the secret war behind every jar of perfect red sauce and every forkful of factory penne that tastes like it came from Nana's kitchen. Buckle up. You're about to see what the world hides behind those innocent supermarket labels. The battle begins at 4:17 a.m. under floodlights that turn night into blood orange hell. A convoy of crimson trucks roars up, engines snarling, each one loaded with 30 tons of tomatoes picked exactly 12 hours ago. Any later and the sugar turns to acid. Any earlier and the flavor never ripens. Time is the enemy here. The second those tailgates drop, the clock starts murdering perfection. Tomatoes avalanche onto a stainless steel river that moves at walking speed, but feels like a bullet train when you're standing next to it. 30,000 fruits a minute surge forward, glistening like wet rubies under freezing water cannons that blast away field dirt, leaves, and the occasional unlucky frog. Miss one piece of rot and the entire batch dies. There is no mercy. Suddenly the river splits. Green tomatoes, hard rebels, get violently shaken off the line by optical sorters flashing 120 times per second. Red only. Only the ripest survive. The chosen ones rocket upward on elevators that groan like waking giants, then free-fall into a steaming abyss, the scalding bath. 95 degrees Celsius. The skins explode on contact, splitting open with a hiss you can hear over the roar of machines. 1,000 tiny screams of tomato flesh. Robotic arms rip the skins away in one brutal motion, flinging them into waste chutes where they'll become cattle feed by sundown. Naked tomatoes, now pale and vulnerable, plunge into crushers the size of cars. Blades spin so fast they blur into silver discs. In half a heartbeat 40 tons of fruit become a raging red tsunami that surges through pipes thick as a man's torso. You can feel the pulse in the floor. The building itself has a heartbeat now. But raw puree is weak. It needs fire. The Red River slams into cookers taller than houses. Gas burners roar like jet engines underneath, pushing the temperature to 110 degrees in seconds. Steam explodes upward in white geysers that rattle the roof. Inside those kettles the sauce is being reborn under pressure that would crush a submarine. Acidity drops. Sugars caramelize. Flavors that slept inside the fruit for months wake up screaming. This is where magic hides, where cheap tomatoes turn aristocratic. But it's also where disaster waits. One burnt note and the whole batch tastes like ash. Operators in silver heat suits watch gauges like snipers, hands hovering over kill switches. They have 8 seconds to decide, save it or murder 40,000 liters. Most people would crack. These men and women thrive on it. Now comes the moment the sauce proves it deserves to live. It thunders into the seasoning arena, rows of stainless catwalks suspended above bubbling vats. Workers in white armor move like priests performing sacrifice. Giant hoppers rain down pre-weighed avalanches of salt, oregano, basil, and secret blends locked in safes. But the garlic, never trust a machine with garlic. Veteran cooks armed with paddles longer than oars wade into cauldrons of sizzling oil. Hundreds of kilos of peeled cloves hit the surface and the air ignites. The smell slams into you like a physical force. Eyes water. Throats burn. Grown men cry and call it heaven. They stir by hand because only human instinct knows when the garlic has surrendered its soul without dying. Golden. Never brown. 10 tons of it today. The entire factory smells like victory. The sauce is almost immortal now, but not yet perfect. It rockets through pipes at freeway speed into the concentration cathedral, vacuum chambers that look like alien engines. Here pressure drops so low the sauce boils at 60 degrees, preserving every volatile aroma while water evaporates into clouds that get captured and reused. What enters as thin puree exits thick as velvet, intense enough to make you dizzy from 10 meters away. Taste it now and your knees buckle. But we're not done. The sauce still has to survive the final trial, heat sterilization without losing its soul. It enters the wall of fire, rows of tubular heat exchangers where temperatures spike to 143 degrees for exactly 6 seconds. Long enough to kill every spore that could ever rise from the dead. Short enough that the sauce steps out the other side still tasting alive. If the timing is off by a heartbeat, the flavor flattens forever. Every shift is a high-wire act measured in milliseconds. While the sauce fights its war, another army marches in perfect silence, the pasta. Durum wheat, hard as bullets, pours from silo mountains into cleaners that sound like jet turbines. Stones, dust, and metal shards get blasted away by air knives moving faster than sound. Only the pure golden hearts remain. They cascade into roller mills that grind with the patience of glaciers and the force of avalanches. Steel rollers the length of buses close in millimeter by millimeter over days, turning rock-hard grain into silken semolina that glows like desert sand under lights. This is not flour. This is weaponized wheat. The semolina meets water in a chamber sealed like a bank vault. No air. No mercy. Giant screws churn the mixture into a dough that fights back, dense, angry, unbreakable. Then comes the extrusion. The dough is forced at 200 tons of pressure through bronze dies older than some countries. For penne, the die is a nightmare of precision, a circle with 5 pins suspended in the center by nothing but mathematics. The dough screams through those impossible holes and emerges as perfect tubes, ridged and hollow, catching sauce like tiny red waterfalls later. You can hear the metals sing as pasta is born, a high metallic whisper that never stops. Fresh pasta is fragile. It must be dried or it dies. It enters cathedrals of heat and wind, rooms 80 meters long where temperature and humidity dance a choreography measured to the gram. Too fast and the outside hardens while the inside stays wet, cracks later like earthquake faults. Too slow and mold wins. For 12 hours the drying cycle lasts 14 hours, dropping from 50 degrees to 30 in perfect curves while fans howl like hurricanes. When it finally emerges, the penne clicks together like glass. You could build castles with it. You could shoot it out of cannons and it wouldn't break. This is pasta forged for war against your teeth and your rushed weekday nights. Now the final convergence. 2 mighty rivers, one red and furious, one golden and silent, meet under blinding lights. Robotic arms scoop exactly 160 grams of penne into aluminum trays with tolerance measured in single digits. The sauce, still 85 degrees and breathing, pours in a perfect spiral from a nozzle that spins like a helicopter blade, coating every tube inside and out. Steam rises in slow motion. A single basil leaf, bright as rebellion, is placed on top by a machine that never misses. Lids descend. Seals hiss. In 3 seconds the tray goes from raw ingredients to a complete dish ready to survive earthquakes, apocalypses, and your microwave. Conveyors march the finished trays into spiral freezers where -40-degree air hits like a polar fist. In 20 minutes the sauce freezes into crimson glaciers around pasta statues. From there they slide into boxes, onto pallets, into trucks that will cross oceans if needed. Total time from tomato vine to frozen tray, under 36 hours. That jar of sauce on your shelf? It remembers the war. It carries the heat of those burners, the scent of hand-fried garlic, the scream of bronze dies. Every time you twist the lid you're opening a time capsule from a battlefield most people will never see. This is how perfection is forged when the world demands millions of plates and refuses to wait. Not magic. Not tradition. Pure, unrelenting, glorious war, fought with fire, steel, and human nerve stretched to breaking. And we won. Again. Tonight 40,000 kilos of tomatoes became 40,000 moments of pleasure on strangers' tables. Tomorrow the war starts again at 4:17 a.m. sharp. So next time you twirl that penne and the sauce explodes across your tongue, close your eyes. You're not just eating dinner. You're tasting victory.